Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina Marie Agdarian. I am the author of The Letters in the Old House, available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. I will have a link to purchase the book in the description below. So today is another episode of Book Talk. This is a series I do where I talk about a book that I recently read, what I liked, what I didn't like about it, and ultimately help you determine if you would potentially like to read this book. So today's book is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager or Sager. I'm not quite sure how this author prefers their name to be pronounced, but this is a thriller book. I give this one a 3 out of 5. I'll explain my rating, of course. Basically, this story is about a woman who's in her mid-30s. She's an actress, and she's trying to get out of the public eye for a little bit. Actually, her family is making her get out of the public eye a little bit because she does have a very serious drinking problem. So if that's something that you don't necessarily enjoy reading about, you may want to skip this book altogether, because a lot of the plot revolves around her addiction. So basically, she's in her family's lake house trying to get away from the press and the public eye. She's had a lot of issues, and she was recently fired from one of her last job that she had on stage. She was in a show, so she was fired. Her family said, get out of Dodge and go hide out in the family lake house. And it's the fall, so there's really nothing going on in this lake, or at this lake. It's in Vermont. But there is a family, or rather a couple, that lives across the lake, and it's a very high profile couple. It's a supermodel as well as this tech mogul, and she, in the beginning of the book, saves the supermodel from drowning, and they become kind of friendly, and then the supermodel disappears, and the whole story kind of revolves around, where did she go? Was the husband involved? Kind of typical stuff. I thought I had this book figured out within the first 50 pages, and I was dead wrong. It does take a lot of really crazy twists and turns, and ultimately it got a little weird for me. It is somewhat supernatural, I would say, which I wasn't expecting, which is totally fine. It just wasn't my thing. So she's kind of on this mission. The main character's name is Casey. I didn't mention that in the beginning, but the main character's name is Casey, and she's trying to find out what happened to Catherine, who is the supermodel in question, who went missing. So the book overall was entertaining. Again, I give it 3 out of 5. So it wasn't great and amazing, but it wasn't terrible. It was middle of the road for me. I did feel that the story dragged in some parts, and that there were a lot of pieces of information that were kind of unnecessary to the story, and not necessarily that they were red herring pieces of information. It was just like, this has absolutely nothing to do with why I'm reading. Some of this, the fat could have been trimmed, is what I'm saying. So it was very interesting reading this book, because again, I had no clue where this was going. So kind of a big surprise there. The other part I didn't like is just kind of how this was wrapped up. There's a detective involved. I do have some knowledge of how law enforcement works, and what happens in this book is definitely not the way law enforcement happens in real life, or law enforcement procedures happen in real life. So that was a little bit of a turnoff, and that kind of felt like it was rushed and wrapped up too quickly at the end. So just kind of some pacing issues. Some of the book felt like it was going really quickly and was really exciting, and then I would get to the next chapter and it dragged, and I'm thinking, where is this going? This information is kind of unnecessary. But if you enjoy thrillers, if you're looking for something just kind of like quick to read, or almost like a palate cleanser in between other types of books, by all means, this is not a bad book. I just didn't totally love it. So again, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Let me know in the comments if you read this book, what you liked, what you didn't like, and as always, guys, happy reading.